Today we're here in Leeds in the Mecca Mosque, and I'm joined by my esteemed guest Imam Qari Asim. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah. I was just looking around at this beautiful building. Could you tell us a little bit about this mosque and its history?
Yeah, Makkah Mosque was opened in 2003. It was an inspiration of my father, Professor Hafiz Fateh Muhammad, may Allah elevate his status. And it was built through local money. So we spent £2 million, but it was all raised locally. And that was really, we saw community spirit coming out because people really wanted it to be not a place of worship only, but also a dynamic, vibrant institution that connected with people. And so the mosque has a vision. There are three strands to that vision. One is engagement with youth. Second is empowerment of women. And third one is engaging the wider community.
What kind of duties do you have as Imam here? What are the normal day-to-day duties?
Yeah. So I'm the only Imam in the country that leads daily prayers, as well as working full-time as a commercial property lawyer. So I led the morning prayer, Fajr prayer today, and I'll be leading Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and also I deliver Friday sermons, I conduct weddings and funerals, provide advice to my community, and I really genuinely enjoy everything that I do because I do it with the intention to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also facilitate our own community, navigate their way through the world.
You mentioned before that you have three main strands of work through the mosque, the engaging with the youth, empowering women, and also reaching out to the community. Would you mind me asking which one of those is the most challenging?
I think it's engaging with the youth is the most challenging, and that's not necessarily something that's unique to Islam. I think just generally, people of faiths have to make faith relevant to people. We are living in a world which is secular world, and there are lots of challenges, lots of attractions, including internet and everything else. And as a result, it's really difficult to make faith and faith-based institutions relevant to young people. Like for instance, why should a young person come to the mosque when he or she can have everything in their own palms in the form of iPhones and smartphones? Also, we have so much information out there. But I think what the difference is in terms of a young person being able to distinguish between information and actually internalization of the knowledge that we that can be given through the mosque.
Were you brought up in Leeds?
I was brought up in Leeds. I was born in Pakistan, and then I came to Leeds, and Leeds is my home. I've lived longer here than anywhere else, and wherever I go, whether it's Indonesia or Australia, I miss home because simply this is where I've grown up.
Is there a favourite place for you in Leeds? Is there somewhere which has a special place in your heart?
It's really tricky because Leeds is a beautiful place. The countryside surrounds Leeds, and it's an economically vibrant city. But what I really like is Hyde Park, which is not really far from here, and I have fond memories of Hyde Park. And one of those memories is effectively I used to go with my father, rahimahullah, as a young child, and we used to recite about 2 or 3 juz of the Holy Quran every day while walking around Hyde Park. And you see grandfathers feeding the ducks, you see children playing in the park, you see so many students from all over England actually walking around doing that thing in Hyde Park, and that was like vibrancy. You see life there, and when you see life and also nature, birds singing, it really kind of inspired you and spiritually uplifted you because nature connects you with God, and so as a result I really love Hyde Park, and I still go whenever I can.
You received an award from the Queen. Was that an MBE?
That's right, and that was part of the work that I do with other communities and trying to bridge gap between communities. So really honoured to receive that award.
And you've also recently met with the Pope in Rome. How was that meeting?
I did. So that was really unusual. Out of all the people that I think I've met over the decades, that was one of the astonishing meeting. I found Pope Francis a genuine person, and I think he's really making a difference, and he's like an inspiring individual. And I think in a way I would not be wrong in saying that's what a person of faith should really be: putting people before dogmas, and putting a poverty before perhaps the economic progression that we have, and as a result, I think he really reminded me of some of the Sufiya that we and some of the scholars that we have had over the centuries, how they connected with people and they put people before anything else, and as a result, they were able to impact people across the globe, and also leave a legacy that even after centuries they're remembered for the fantastic work that they did while they were alive.
So you lead the daily prayers here in the mosque. You're a full-time financial lawyer. You're doing initiatives and activities here, there and everywhere. Where do you get the motivation from?
I think the key motivation is obviously the prophetic example. That even how much was going on in the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but despite all of that, his main aim was to basically to ensure that people hear the message of God. And then the second day is, no matter how challenging, hard day I've had, when I go to sleep, before that I go to sleep finding solace and peace in the fact that perhaps I helped someone today, I facilitated someone's issue today, I told someone about the message of God, so that kind of removes all my challenges and difficulties.
In spite of all the different varied challenges that the Muslim community is going through within the UK and in Europe in general, what kind of things would you advise and suggest that the Muslim community focus on? Are there any particular themes which you think could be the solutions for lots of these issues?
I think there are two things in my mind that we really need to focus on. One is that we need to have a vision, and secondly, we need to have some strategies to deal with those. And the key thing that we can do is build trust, amongst ourselves, and also trust amongst the other communities about ourselves, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before he declared his prophethood, people trusted him, and that's the key thing. At the moment, the image of Muslims is unfortunately tarnished because people don't trust them, and that might be completely ill-founded at times, and there may be some basis at times, but we, rather than complaining about some of the challenges that we are facing, we need to light some good examples, and we need to be beacons of light, and we will see the darkness around us, or dehumanization and Islamophobia and extremism, and in terms of lack of engagement between parents and children, lack of love and affection between husbands and wives. All of those things, I think it starts from home, and then it's literally amplified throughout the globe, and it's like starting from home, and ultimately it's prophetic example is there for us, and if we cannot be true to our faith, then we will see that we cannot be true to anything.
Imam Qari Asim, thank you so much for welcoming me here in your beautiful mosque, in your beautiful community. It's been an absolute pleasure.